In this video, traders, we're going to look at what is a pattern interrupt and how can it help your trading. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. All right, so what is a pattern interrupt and how can it help your trading? This is my definition for it. I know this is not the kind of official definition, if you like. Some people will say this comes from kind of the NLP type things. Whatever, I don't think it matters. I'm just kind of wrapping it up as a trading perspective, and what I think a pattern interrupt is, how we can use it and how it can benefit our trading. So for me, a pattern interrupt is an action that makes you stop and consider your reaction. So in other words, you're about to do something that's a pattern, a habit you formed. Let's step out of trading for a second and imagine you are a smoker. You have probably had a habit for years where you reach into your jacket pocket, you pull out a packet of cigarettes, you put it to your lip and you light it without even thinking about it. A pattern interrupt is at some point between taking that cigarette, sticking it in your mouth and lighting it, an action or a thought or a process or something that just stops you for a second to think about what you're doing. So if we move back into the trading realm, it could be something like, hey, I sit down at the screen and I just click the mouse because I want to see a trade, I want to get in. Whenever I see something, I grab it. I don't really consider the risk, whether it's a good setup. That could be a habit you formed. A pattern interrupt is at some point between opening that deal ticket, filling it in with the price you've got and clicking that order, you are stopping and thinking about what you're doing. Now, the advantage of this for traders is that we don't then do something that we later regret. There's nothing wrong with making an active decision to do something. If we decide to do it, that's fine. But what we're trying to do is stop things on autopilot. Just like the cigarette smoker would be autopilot, lighting the cigarette, lighting the fag, lighting the cigarette, lighting the cigarette. If he still chooses to do it, then fine, that's a separate issue you can address later. Like if you're a trader, and you still choose to do something, we can address that with other methods and strategies for dealing with discipline and stuff. But what we're trying to do is stop the automatic habit of doing this, doing that. When a market comes close to you, move your stop. So some examples are, and let's look at some of the things that perhaps we could do quickly. You diving into trades. Super common on this, you scan through charts, you see something, you hit it, market's open, you're in. No risk consideration, so you hit the trade, you don't think where your stop is going to be, market starts to move lower, you're long, oh, I should have had a stopping, where am I going to do it? Again, you're kind of rushing things. It's a pattern, it's a habit, you've seen something, you've pulled the trigger, you've not thought about the risk-reward ratio or where the risk on the deal is. Overtrading, super common if you're scalping, if you're day trading, you're there, you're sitting there, you want to do something, bang, you spot something, you take it, you take this, you take that. Again, it's an impulsive pattern and habit that you've developed over time, and it's something that you want to try to stop before you do it and then consider and think about what's happening. So we're trying to interrupt that pattern, that flow, that hardwired neural network, if you like, in our brain. Moving a stop. Market comes close to your stop, you move it. Again, pattern, use a learned behavior. Revenge trading, you're angry at the market, so what do? You're hammering away, hammering away. That comes from a different part of the brain, from thoughtful consideration about your trades. You want to get your P&L back today. You want to get the money back from the stock that took it. Whatever it may be, it's something that is a pattern that's a negative pattern for you. If you interrupt it, you've at least got half a chance of stopping it. FOMO trading, know all about that. Breaking risk rules, again, overtrading in the day, may taking too much risk on too much size, all this kind of thing. So what are the kind of things that we do as a pattern interrupt? So some of the things could be, okay, anything that you do to recognize it. So again, this is my perspective on it, guys. If you look in some of the official books that are far more into the mind and psychology, they're going to have much better ways for them. But for me, as a trader, I've learned to try to spot some of the telltale signs that I might be, for example, revenge trading. Revenge trading for me was something that had me for quite a while in my early years, kind of 2004, 5, those kind of early years. I would, if I'd had a bad day or week, I would probably get into revenge mode and want to get that money back. And for me, stepping back and recognizing all the parts of the process that had to come into place before I took a revenge trade and dissecting each to find out where the weak spot, if you like, that I could step in was, that helped loads. So the pattern interrupt to me was after I'd had a certain amount of losers, I would go, right, now I can use this point here, because I know this normally ends up in me revenge trading, to stop. I started a rule that created a rule that said, hey, after this amount of losers, this amount of drawdown, step back. And then it becomes a different task. My task then becomes sticking to that rule rather than just flowing all the way through, loss, 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 revenge trade, dig a big hole, and end up trying to get out of it again. So the key for me, and maybe this will help you, is to recognize all the parts of the process right from the beginning. What makes you suddenly do this? What makes you suddenly start to feel that way? Maybe it's a physical thing. Are you hunched over? Are you kind of leaning forward? Are you even leaning back? Are you a bit blasé about your risk management? Are you this? There's always different telltale signs, and spotting those and then putting something in place to interrupt the way that you trade, or to interrupt your thinking so that you step back a bit and go, ha, do I really want to take this trade? Another quick example, guys, you may have heard of me before, is I used to have money, literal pound notes, sitting there and go, okay, this is how much I'm going to risk on the trade, and place it in a separate area, cornered off area on my desk. And that was a kind of pattern interrupt, if you like, maybe not in the official sense, like I say, but for me, it helped me think differently. Am I prepared to risk this money on the trade? It's real money, no proper money as it is in your account. Am I prepared to risk it, take the money, put it there? If I wasn't, it would make me think about the trade a little bit more, rather than perhaps the initial habit and hardwired habit of just clicking away, taking the risk and thinking, yeah, I'm happy with the risk, but not actually thinking, hey, there's real money at stake here. It's not just numbers on a screen, it's real money. This is real money here. Are you happy to lose this? And are you happy to stake this on the trade that you're doing? Yes, I am. Fine, off you go. No, I'm not. How much are you happy to risk? Or nothing, actually. Okay. Look at the next trade. Well, maybe half that. So whatever it was something that interrupted my process of just diving into the trade. Again, this is not textbook stuff, guys. This is probably completely different to how the psychologists would talk about pattern interrupt. But for me, the pattern was the cycle of negative behavior that made me do something in trading, and finding something, whatever that was, to interrupt that cycle so I could at least step back for a split second, review what I was doing, decide that yes, it was in my best interest as a trader, or no, it wasn't. I need to reassess, I need to revisit. And doing that helps you get back control of some of your trading. If you like this kind of stuff, guys, give me a thumbs up, appreciated. Kind of see what you guys like, what resonates with you, and what works. If you're really into this and becoming, improving more as a trader. Guys, take care, keep your risk managed, and I hope that helps. See you next one. Bye-bye.